When I descended the 2 steps into the living room was Frank's mother, a pretty, neatly dressed woman who shook my hand warmly, while Mr. Zappa Sr. circled the room with the rigid posture of a military man, as if to add to his height. Watching these 2 sober Catholic parents, I wondered how they had produced such an unorthodox offspring and successful musician like Frank Zappa. They must have done something right, yet he'd rebelled against them. Why? What had made him turn heel? Years later, in 1988, when I visited Frank in his hotel in London, and he was a father of his own 4 children, I asked him that question. What was it about your parents that made you the way you are?
Not very much, he replied. Because basically you get to a point and you see that your parents are behaving in a way that is either illogical or irrelevant, and you may not wish to argue with them because they have been nice to you, so you just ignore them and find your own way. Because I think that if I had followed every rule that was in the house when I grew up, I would be like them. I wouldn't have had a very good time.
With his own children, he said he showed more tolerance.
One of the things that I do that's different from the way my parents raised me is that if my parents said no, it meant no, even if it didn't make any sense at all. But in our house, if I say no and any one of the kids disagrees with it and they can logically prove that I'm wrong, they win. I think that's a good way to teach kids to use logic and make them learn to negotiate. I think that's something that ought to be developed in homes.